Welcome to Across the Desk. I'm your host, Kit Fairchild. This week, episode 2 of season 2, I'm going to talk about the election coming up on Tuesday. We have a primary election coming up. I talked about it a lot last week. I'm going to talk about it again this week. It's the most important thing going on right now. And it's coming up in 2 days. We have to vote. And in this primary election, we have a few things to vote on. One, the most important thing I think of is State Question 802. We need to pass this. This is the Medicaid expansion. This means for certain people between the ages of 18 and 65 with less than 133% of the national poverty level, they're going to be covered by Medicaid, this Medicaid expansion. And this is going to help out a lot of people. It's going to help out lower income people. It's going to help out rural hospitals and rural people who have been seeing hospitals out there and healthcare just decline as fast as you can get it. I actually have a place up in northeast Oklahoma, and I can tell you around there, the closest thing hospital-wise is probably about 20 miles away, 25, and that's too far. You're going through several towns just to get to there, and that's what they're dealing with out there in rural America. I reside in the city, and so it's a whole lot different ball game here than it is out there. A lot of people don't know this, but I was raised out in the middle of the woods in northeast Oklahoma. That's really where I was raised. I was gardening, fishing, hunting. We several times the meals we ate, we harvested ourselves. And anywhere you went, this was in the 70s and early 80s, and in just about anywhere you went, it took 30 miles to get to. And any place you called was long distance. That's not a joke. I had a motorcycle when I was 8, dirt bike, because I lived in the woods, and back then they had mountain bikes. I'm old, so we had motorcycles when we were kids, and that's where I was raised, and I understand the plight of people in rural areas and not having the health care available, or watching your hospital or doctor's office or urgent care center that you've been using go out of business just because hey, the funding's not there, there's no support for it, and they want to and that's what you get with, you just can't free market everything. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm a businessman. I got a degree in business administration. I do business for a living. That's what I do. That's how I make my money through our capitalist system. I've learned how to use it really well, and I like it. It's all right for me. But it doesn't work for everybody, and people slip through, and we need to do and have things in place for those people, especially in the rural areas. And then that's the thing. We say, oh man, they just moved to the city then. But we actually need rural people. We need those people out there. They actually serve a function in our broader society. You got farmers out there. You even have ranch hands. There's more than just that. These communities, I mean, like the people on Grand Lake, there's a bunch of rich Republicans that have places up on Grand Lake. Well, you know what? They need people up there to service them when they're there. So you got to have that too. We're all kind of in this together. So we can't just say, oh man, well those real people need to suffer because that's what they chose to do. Well, a lot of times you're a product of your environment, and that's the environment that they've grown up in. That's the environment that they know. And seriously, some of the things that people in rural communities provide, we need here in the city. We don't have acres upon acres to farm on. We just don't have that. And so we really need that. We really need those people, and we really need to take care of those people and make sure that they have the quality of life available to them that we may have in the city or elsewhere. And so that's why it's important to go vote and vote yes on State Question 802, the Medicaid expansion, because it's just really that important. It's going to bring in nearly $1 billion to Oklahoma's economy. I don't know why we wouldn't want that. Just as a business guy, I don't know why we wouldn't want to increase our GDP or our take by almost $1 billion. I don't get that. That's just going to help people here. If you know anything about how the economy works, that stuff, it goes from one to the other. As it keeps moving around, everybody's going to get it, and it's going to generate more business is what it's going to do. People are going to want to do business to get that $1 billion that's coming in. Hospitals, medical supply people, the people that service those people, and it's a big old circle that goes around, and that's why it's important to vote yes on 802. Now we got a few other things coming up, and I got the sample ballot up here. So if you're a Democrat, well, you're going to have a couple of things. You're going to have people running in the primaries. We have three, from what I see. We have four people running for the U.S. Senate seat. Then they want to go up against Inhofe. There's four people. Now, the big name here is Abby Broyles. Of course, she was a media talent, and she's got the name recognition. And, like a lot of her ideas, she'll probably be who I vote for. The other thing we're going to be voting on is U.S. Representative for District 5. If you're in District 5, like I am, it depends. You may not be, hey man, everybody's got different stuff. But me, I'm in District 5, and right now Kendra Horn is holding that seat. Well, she's been primaried by a guy named Tom Guild. Now, I've actually met Tom Guild a few times, and I gotta say, he's not what we need in there. He's not. He's a career. He's what you call. He's a perpetual runner. He runs for everything. I don't know how many times he's ran for this seat in the last 20 years. You got Tom Guild running against Kendra Horn, who holds the seat currently, and he's going to run against her. And it's not like he's a major progressive, because Tom Guild isn't. He's not a major progressive person. I can see that. Hey, man, if I was just a real major Bernie Sanders type of progressive guy, then maybe I'd run against Kendra Horn. But he's not. That's not who Tom Guild is. It's not the guy I know as Tom Guild that I've met before and talked to. That's not him. And so I have a suspicion that he's doing this just, to get the donation money out of it. I'm not sure, what he can do with it or anything else, but I get that's why he's running. My vote's going for Kendra Horn on this. She holds the seat. She's got the best opportunity at keeping that seat. It's not Tom Guild. It's just not. But anyway, enough of that. The next thing we got two guys running for the county sheriff ticket on the Democrat side. We got Wayland Cubitt and Virgil Green Sr. They're running for county sheriff in Oklahoma County. That's Oklahoma County. If you're in Oklahoma County, if you're in another part of the state, check it out. What you can do. See, all I did, I'm going to tell you right now. You can get your sample ballot. You need to go to the Oklahoma Election Board. There's a place there where you can put in your name and your date of birth, and right there you can do a lot of things. You can order your absentee ballot, you can change your address, and you can see your sample ballot. So what I did was I pulled up a sample ballot from the Oklahoma Election Board, and please go there. I encourage everybody, because mine's going to be different than yours. Even if you're in Oklahoma County but you're not in District 5, well, yours is going to look a little different. So I encourage everyone, go check out your sample ballot. It's online at the state election board, and you can get it pretty easily. Just a few clicks, enter a little information, click again, and then you can pick what you want. And that's exactly what I do. I always have information at the end of these videos. I may even pop a few up here on my side that shows, the ballots and everything else. But at the end of it, I'll have the website, so if you just want to type it in correctly or whatever else, I want to see what you got, I'll have it at the end in the credits. I'll show it on there so you can see it. And that's the sample ballots we got coming for this election on Tuesday. So we basically got 3 contests for sheriff, representative in District 5, and state senator. And we have this state question 802, which I believe is probably the most important thing on there, is state question 802. And it's really important that we go out and vote. Don't let them discourage you. Don't, please, I know, they're past all this stuff to make it as hard for us to vote as possible. And you know why. I'll tell you why. Because, see, Republicans, they cater to rich people. They're plutocrats. It's what they are. They who has the gold makes the rules. So if you got the money, they're going to listen to you. Well, you know what? When you look at the demographics, the people with all the money, well, there's probably less than 5% of the population there. So you're not going to win elections with just 5% of the population, so you got to do other things like suppress the vote of other people, that aren't rich, that live in poor districts. So you suppress them from voting, and they justify it. They're justified by doing this because, well, these are the business owners. These are the guys creating the economy, and they're important. And so we need to protect those people. And if we can, and so we can't let these plebes vote, ruin the vote, because they don't know business like these other people do, and they'll ruin their businesses. And this is exactly what they think. I've heard people say this word for word. I mean, even conservatives in my family have said this, that, hey man, we agree with suppressing the vote with people that, don't own businesses, because, they're just going to ruin those businesses, and it's going to ruin our economy. And that's how they justify this, and it's like, and then 2 paragraphs later they're talking about how they're a constitutional conservative. But I figured that one out too. They're constitutional conservatives in their mind because, see, the Constitution serves real Americans, right? And those real Americans think the way they do. If you decide, even if you were born and raised in America, all your parents and grandparents fought in the wars that the United States has ever been in, but hey, you decide on your political affiliation, you're going to mark the Democrat side, well, you just became not a real American anymore. So in their view and in their mind, you're not a real American. You don't get all the rights and privileges assigned to you to the Constitution because you obviously hate America because you don't think the way I do. And that's exactly what these guys think. I mean, this is how dangerous these people are, really, because, they really believe that you should have less rights if you don't think the way they do. If you check that box for a different political affiliation, well, you should have less constitutional rights. And let's not get into if my skin tone was darker than it is, or if my name sounded weird, and not English enough. Because, man, I gotta tell you, Fairchild, that's a very English blue blood name. So I don't get a lot of crap. I get a lot of privilege because of that. Man, I tell people, I mean, I see it. It happens. It's not right, but it does. Maybe I should use that as an advantage somehow, and crusade with it somehow for the injustices of other people. But I have to figure out how to do that. Maybe with this show. Maybe that's what I'm doing here. I'm bringing it on. Hey man, you got a middle-aged white guy right here telling you who ate the cabbage and how they're gonna do it. So for what it's worth. There you go, right? No. But, most important thing of all of this is vote on Tuesday. Tuesday, June 30th, is election day. It's primary season. We got things to vote on. Go do it. If you don't vote, they're going to beat us over the head with that. That's how they say we're a really red state. Oklahoma is the reddest of the reddest states. You know why it's the reddest of the red states? Because we got some liberals out there who decide, no, I'm just not going to vote as my protest. Well, you know what? It's not much of a protest if the other side's going to use it to wallop you over the head and say, hey, look how red we are. We're so red, our guy won by 80 points. He won by 80 points. Why did he win by 80 points? Because the other side didn't show up to vote. And, and they're going to use it against you. That's what they do. OCPA, they're really good at using this against you when you don't go vote. They do it. It's what they do. The other side, they're really good at messaging. Very good at it. They're going to take those vote totals. They're going to use it as political capital to move their agenda forward. Look, well, we got so many people on the right in this state because, 67% of the people voted red. That voted, right? Because the people that showed up to vote, 67% voted red. But imagine if those other people sitting there, I'm not voting, decided to go vote. Guess what? It wouldn't be no 67% red vote. It wouldn't be all that red. It just wouldn't. So that's what you get. You get them using this political capital against us when they don't vote. Not only that, they still call that out too. Look, they didn't vote. They didn't vote. They don't care. They didn't vote, obviously, because they didn't care. And maybe that's the point. Yeah, I didn't care because, this guy, didn't hold to all the, liberal ideals that I wanted. And some of these people, just like, people on the far right, they're single issue voters. They only care about one thing. They're out there. They are. They only care about one thing. That's all they care about. And I'm voting for the guy who has this one thing. And, they're out there on the left just like they're on the right. I think they're more so on the right than the left. But we have them too. And they're the same guys who are going to sit at home on election day because, their guy didn't win. and they want to make a protest by letting the other team say, hey, look how red we are, because, more of our people voted. Well, that's what I have for this week. This is Across the Desk with Kit Fairchild. Yeah, and I'll see you next week.